Welcome to the BlabberMalt Show with your hosts, Dave and Matthias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Episode 30, October 10th, 2023.
Insane.
We have the malty guys. We got the hoppy dudes.
We got them all here.
I think this is going to be a good show.
I know it is.
So we got Chad and Keith here.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Two favorite happy dudes.
That's right. That's right.
It's time to mash in.
Let's get right into this, man.
Heck yeah.
How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Well, pretty much typical weekend for me.
Yeah.
Worked, man.
Working?
Worked,
Brewing?
football and work.
Football and work.
Yeah. Sunday, no Browns game, so just kind of laid low.
Oh, yeah. I was off. Bye week, yeah.
Bye week. Made food for the kiddos and kind of hung at the house. And
I know Denise was happy because Steelers were on a bye, or the Browns were on a bye, so she was able to watch the Steelers game.
There you go.
Broadcast. So
well, I'm sorry for her luck. But yeah. That's why she's upstairs crashing tonight.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, Marblehead again.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. I was got a couple things here to show you.
Uh-oh.
We were up in Marblehead.
Oh.
At the Oktoberfest, I took a couple of my beers there.
Yep.
And these folks didn't know what they were getting themselves into because these were like a 6.5% and a 7.5% beer, and people were getting crunk.
That's your typical lake event.
Yeah.
Function.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah. You know, we had a little hay ride, a little pumpkin carving. The kids painting up and carving the pumpkins. Nice. There, I took the jockey box.
Yes,
had the Doktoberfest and the Resting Bitch Face. We did change the name to Resting Beer Face because there's kids around. So
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Hey, how did the Oktoberfest turn out with the Quebec Yeast?
It was okay. I was telling these guys before you got here, I made a little mistake with the hops. I got 2 bags, and they had different alpha acids. I was going to add the higher alpha acid to minimize the bitter impact, add it later.
Yep.
I screwed up, added it right at the beginning. So it's here, and it's a little bitter. I mean, it's probably about 35 IBUs. It's a little bitter for a Marzen, but, I mean, it's not IPA territory.
I think it's good. I think you're always your worst critic.
Well,
but when you are the Sam Adams long shot winner,
shut up.
You gotta put that in every show, man.
Every show,
every single show. We guys on a hayride?
Yeah, we did a hayride, and there's my buddy Nebo.
Yeah.
We're on the hayride, and there's my wife and his wife, and we had a great time.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at that picture.
Nice.
What a weekend.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
How about you guys? What did you do this weekend? Anything fun?
I just hung out. Really didn't do anything. It took some time off. It was nice, relaxed.
Yeah, I went down to Seneca Lake and camped for the weekend. So, wife and I and son.
I saw your pictures.
Yeah.
That looked really nice.
It was Halloween weekend, so we went on ahead and had, decorations and everything, and then handed out candy to the kids. It was pretty cool.
Nice. That's cool. Now you have a full-on camper? Or yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to actual camp, and I still do with scouts. But with the wife now, it's more glamping than what it is.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice little camper.
It is. It's nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
So, Dave, before we get rolling today, how do people in the internet world find us?
Yeah, just make sure you find us in all the places: Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, the BlabberMalt Show, Instagram, X, and Threads now at BlabberMalt.
Absolutely. If you want to get a hold of us for any reason whatsoever, let us know how wonderful we were, how not so wonderful we typically are. any mistakes you make, things you want to try, ask questions. How do they get a hold of us?
BlabberMalt@gmail.
That's it.
Yeah, that'll always
easy
work.
peasy. Nice little email for you. And we've got some emails from people recently, and especially about coming to our Christmas event.
Yeah, these are turning into something. We're gonna have to. We'll talk about that in a little bit here.
Well, I think we have the whole back filled. We have the galley filled.
Yeah, we'll do a little something. We'll do something.
We'll figure it out.
It's time for the Vorloff.
All right, let's start talking about the hoppy dudes here. We've got Keith and Chad here, going to tell us about their brewery, tell us about their beers. Why don't we get right to a beer? Get right to a pickle beer.
So, we've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks because I can't stop talking about it ever. So much so that I had to have the Golden Chalice already started before we started the show.
Yeah.
I'm in love with all of your beers. Obviously, we've been a fan of yours since you first started. I think we got together the first time at Blue Heron in Medina, if you remember correctly.
Yep.
And just started swapping stories and really just creating a relationship together. You had some really good questions. I think we just started to build a relationship from that point on, and just to see where you're at now from then. It's blowing up, man.
Yeah.
You're killing it. How many beers do you have on tap right now?
We have 14 beers on tap at any one time.
See, it's fantastic. And of course, I can never stray away from your pickle beers.
And we brought one today that you've never even tried.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is Christmas. This is my Christmas today
Pickle
in the
Christmas.
fall. Pickle Christmas.
Yeah.
Hide the pickle. So,
Whoa.
why don't you tell us what's going on? Why don't you get the beers out and we'll drink some beers and let's talk through it.
Are we
The
going
first
OG
one.
first?
No, the OG.
I got it
I'll
right
drink my
here.
OG.
Right here.
Hmm.
So we actually do have the pickles to go with them too, but we can have those later.
So you brought actual pickles.
We did.
I did bring that up in our last episode.
You did.
So we actually,
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
the pickles that we have for each one. So we have a garlic horseradish. These are the garlic horseradish
Nice,
pickles to
coming
go
at
with
you.
it.
Come at me. Ooh. Look at that right there on the spot.
Then we have a spicy pickle
While
and
you're
a
at
dill.
Top the brother off. Look at this. Oh my goodness. So I know we're supposed to talk about this later, Dave, but can we go ahead and jump to the thought about how and why and what the scenario was? And
For pickle?
so tell us how you came up with the idea of a pickle beer.
So, my full-time job, my boss knew that I like pickles, and he brought me a pickle beer, and it was from a brewery down south, and I was not impressed with it. Thought that it was a beer with a tiny hint of pickle, which, if you're going to have something called pickle, make it taste pickle.
Go all the way.
So my thought was when we first started brewing, I wanted to do a pickle beer. So researched it, had people come over. We tried different brines, taking the 1 ounce of beer, taking an eyedropper, putting the brine in. Ended up finding, we'd go and we'd brew it, and then we'd go buy pickles. We would take all
I'm
the
trying to
pickles and
avoid
eat
the
them, and then use the brine in the beer.
And then sit on the shitter for 3 hours while
Yes.
we're waiting for something to
Pretty
happen.
much.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where we found out that we could make our own brine.
Okay.
So we make our own brine, and then at kegging we add it into the beer. So it's a sour goza, but it's not a true sour because it's masked by the pickle. But that's where it came from. Is we wanted to do a pickle beer that tasted like pickles, and this is just like having a pickleback shot, or if you drink pickle juice out of the jar.
I do.
We have a lot of runners that come in that they're in a marathon or whatever, and they said, I get to mile 3 and all I can think about is the pickle beer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they
Brother,
come
I'm not
in-
a runner, and that's all I think about is your pickle beer.
But I would run to the brewery
Yeah.
to get some of this beer.
Boom.
So something else to think about.
Before let's listen to this real quick.
When you're making a goza beer, right? The goza is brewed with coriander and salt, both of which are used in making pickle brine also. So it made total sense to use a goza-based recipe and then go on ahead and add our brine into it. So
And we've had a lot of fun with it. We didn't know, you put it out there when we first opened, and we thought it was going to be a seasonal. We've never taken it off tap.
couldn't.
Yeah.
People come in and say, we're going to be mad if you ever take it
Yeah.
off tap. So, we did a beer fest last year, the Summit County United Way Beer Fest, and we won Best on Tap from the pickle beer. We have a 6-foot-tall trophy at the brewery. So people love it. We take it to every beer fest now, and it's usually the first beer gone. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, if I'm at that brew fest, it's definitely the first beer.
You probably do.
He's the first one to get a pint out of it before we get started.
And I told you guys that last time, and I wasn't joking with you. You heard it from the mouth of the man who brewed the beer. That's exactly how it goes. We show up to these events, and he walks right over with their Hoppy Dudes branded cups. He's like, I have your pickle beer.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we traded a lot this year.
Yeah.
We did try
Your
a lot of beer this
watermelon
time.
Jolly Rancher, I drank a lot of that.
You
when
did drink
had
a lot of
pickle.
that.
Yeah.
Watermelon Jolly Rancher seltzer. That was
That
good.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Did you guys ever imagine that this would be like
No.
in such high demand?
No.
Wow.
And actually, when we first came out with it, it seemed like maybe it wasn't going to be a hit. You look at the numbers, and, it was like a 60-40. 60 didn't want anything to do with it, and 40 did. And then as it's kind of progressed, it's amazing how more people have come in because they've heard that we actually make it. And that percentage has basically flip-flopped where it's a 60%, 40% to the positive, so.
Nice. So what is the ABV of this beer?
4.3.
Sweet. So what is you have to give all your secrets away because obviously it's your thing. But what is is it a good ratio you've come across? I mean, what did it start with and what is it now? What was the process and kind of coming to this point of a beer that tastes like a pickle?
So ratio as in the brine to beer?
Yeah, how much brine to beer? Or
That I'm not going to say because
Sure.
I don't want to. I mean,
but it's pretty heavy in the pickle brine, right?
Yes.
it is heavy in the pickle
Yeah.
brine, yeah. But I mean, we have some people who are working on some pickle beers, and we don't want to give
No,
them
don't
too
do
much.
that.
But
Yeah.
So I just had obviously I had a pickle. I had a couple dill pickles.
What did you think?
And I
of
had the
garlic
spicy. What was
horseradish?
this one?
That's garlic
Garlic
horseradish.
Dude,
I brought that beer too.
it's insane.
Yeah.
So garlic horseradish pickle, and there's a garlic horseradish pickle beer.
Yes.
Come
Dude.
on, man.
Dude.
and you still got the spicy
And,
pickles.
which I love the
beer.
spicy,
I brought it
which
too.
I'm sure we can talk about the applications for that, right?
Yeah.
Looking at
Yeah.
a spicy bloody.
All we ended up doing with that is just adding jalapenos into the brine and boiling it out.
Yep, and then we use that instead of vodka because all we can sell is our beer.
Yep.
We put that spicy pickle beer into a Bloody Mary, and it's delicious.
It's called
Yeah.
the Bloody Pickle.
It is delicious.
Sponsored by.
Kotex.
But I had the dill pickle, which is kind of
That's the original.
the original. And while this is legitimately a pickle, right? Obviously, you heard the crunch
Yep.
and the flavor. It's nice to have this, then go back to the beer because this still tastes like a Goza now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the beer is still there. It's
Yep.
present.
Yep.
You get that, obviously, salinity from the brine. But it's not, when you have it just by itself, it seems like you're drinking a pickle
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah.
But then going back and forth, it really kind of brings out
You
that.
see the difference in it.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, so let's feather in a little conversation about how you guys got into brewing. Before you had a professional brewery,
Yep.
how did you get into beer? What was your beer that got you into craft?
So
That's a good story.
I've always wanted to brew beer, and it was something that, I love beer, I love drinking beer, and I decided that it'd be kind of cool to try my own. So my wife, my lovely wife, listened, and she ended up getting me a homebrew kit for Christmas. And
What homebrew kit, may I ask?
Northern Brewery.
Northern Brewery,
Okay,
yeah.
so you did better than most of us who got the Walmart brand.
Yeah, it was the Northern
Brewing
Brewery. Yeah.
Brew in a barrel.
So that day, Christmas Day, as usual, with the number of kids that I have, of 4, everybody's got their stuff to put together and put this and do that and do this. And at about, midday or whatever, I asked everybody, "Are you guys done? Does anybody else need me?" And everybody was like, "No, Dad, we're good." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll be in the kitchen the rest of the day." And I brewed a Hefeweizen that day.
Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas Day, I brewed a Hefeweizen.
All in.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, that wasn't an all grain, if you will. It was a partial. So it was a partial grain, and then obviously you had the extract in there too. But then Keith came over, a week later, something like that. I told him that Joy got me a homebrew kit. He went out and got his, and we just started making beer together.
That's wonderful.
Every weekend.
Yeah, every weekend. And it was funny because it was like, what was it, 4 weeks after we brewed the hef, we all got together at my house and we brewed a Pilsner and we drank the hef while we were doing the Pilsner.
Yeah.
And the hef numbers were horrible. You know, a normal hef should be, you know, somewhere around 5% or something like that, you know. And my numbers came out to be about 3.5 or something like that. I forget what the actual number was. And so I told Keith, I'm like, I don't know what we're going to be drinking, but, you know, hopefully it turned out to be pretty good. So I went on ahead and we cracked open the bottles and we ended up drinking it. My father was there that day. And we went on ahead and had, we had 36 in or 40 in between the three of us, and we had a hard time standing up. So we remeasured, which probably isn't the best thing to do with all the carbonation and everything, but you still get a good idea as far as what that ended up being 7.8.
Ooh.
So, which makes sense when we're drinking a beer that should be 5, measured out at 3.5, and it came out at 7.8. We were stumbling a little bit.
We never said we were good at math. So
Yeah.
You know, math, magic. It's all good.
Isn't it funny how, like, a lot of these stories start out with somebody bought me a homebrew kit,
Mm-hmm.
and they just, I hate to use the word condemn, but they kind of commit you to this rabbit hole of seeking out things to brew and just going down the path of collecting equipment and just advancing it. Some people aren't subject to that. They can brew a kit and get out of it, and it's no problem. But some of us,
Yeah.
it's
You might be wondering why we're all just looking over here into the peanut gallery over here, right? So our good friends Tom and Maria showed up, and they're eating some pickles. That's what I was doing.
yeah.
We have plenty of beer.
There are plenty of beer. You should come join us.
We're fans of the hobby dudes. That's rare.
I know. See,
It literally crashed the party because they knew you were here.
That's
Couldn't
fine.
stay away.
That's
Couldn't
fine.
stay away from the
Grab
dudes.
yourself a cup, get behind us, and let's drink.
I don't think that's a problem. Come on over. So the brewing idea, that's pretty typical of what we see for people who are jumping into the brew scene. There is very surprisingly very far and few between that people who are brewers or own their own brewery really just say, I want to change careers. I want to go and I'm going to sell them to start with, and they work their way through the process and open their own brewery. Typically, it's people who get a homebrew kit from somebody. They brew for a little bit because they're just passionate about it, and their beers are fun. They get through that rabbit hole and they can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And it becomes an obsession.
Yeah.
That obsession turns into a fun obsession. Then you start having conversation, right? Your beers start getting better and better and better. And if you're an entrepreneurial spirit, which I know you guys are, it's just the concept of what next, right?
Yeah.
What can we do to make this something that whoever everybody loves it? Can we go to the next level?
Yep.
And so what was that for you? First, so I want you to tell our guests, how did you meet? Because that's a fun story.
Yeah.
And then how did you go from brewing together on a regular basis to saying, you know what? Opening a brewery in Hinckley called Hoppy Dudes Brews is something that actually makes sense.
Okay.
Can we go there?
Well, I mean, we met, it's got to be, I was 16, 30-some years ago.
Yeah.
So Chad went to college with my brother,
Okay.
and they were best friends. And Chad would come over sometimes, and my brother not be home, and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go get something to eat?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then I get home, my brother was there, and he beat the crap out of me. He's like, "That's my friend. You don't go out with him. He's my friend." So we lost touch for quite a while, actually, and then my full-time job's landscaping. So
Still full-time.
Still full-time job. So I ran into him at my niece's graduation party, and he needed some work done. So I went over to his house, gave him a price, started doing work, and that's how we kind of reconnected. That was back in 16, and then we started brewing in 19.
Yeah.
So I mean, we went from Christmas 2019 to having a building for a brewery in October of 2020.
Oh, that's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Now,
That's quick.
Now, there was some tastings inside of that.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
had 3 different events that we did a taste. The first one was just family and friends. And you always come out of that with, man, we had good reviews, but they are
Yes.
family and friends. Are they truly telling us the truth or not? So
Always tastes good.
yeah.
Love you guys.
So we had another one we actually had at my place. And did we sell tickets to that one? No, we didn't sell tickets to that one. We just brought everybody together. And then we had an opportunity for Keith's boss, who is somebody that has a camper out at a campground in Seville, Ohio. And we went out and we met the lady who runs the campgrounds, gave her some beer to taste. She wanted to bring us in for their big event that they had. So we actually packed up Hoppy Dudes in
Took
a
a
camp.
teaser, everything. 12 taps at that time, took it all.
Yeah. Took it out there, and we come back with hardly any beer. Sold tickets. Wow, I'm sorry.
Donated.
Donation tickets for 100 people. Sold out of that, and then came home with hardly any beer. So coming home from that, we were both
and we had them all rate the beers too,
Yeah.
so we got some good feedback from it.
yeah.
Okay.
Coming home from that, total strangers. We didn't know anybody except for a couple people,
Yep.
his boss. We're like, all right, so total strangers rated us well, liked our beers. Maybe we actually do make something good. Let's see what it takes to go to the next step, and that's where we're at. We wanted to go small. To us, it was more market research. So you start out small, cheapest way to do it. Found a building for very little lease amount. Pay your basic utilities. We bought a freezer, a chest freezer, turned it into a keezer, and we're brewing on our, which we ended up buying 2 kegel systems,
Yep.
so we could produce at a larger quantity. But total cost in was very minimal, and monthly cost to keep it running was very minimal.
And then we actually got lucky getting our one barrel system too. A guy was going to start a brewery, said it's too hard, decided not to, and we got it pretty cheap.
It was his retirement plan. He
Yep.
was going to retire making beer, and we ended up getting a 1-barrel spike system for a third
Stout
of the
system.
cost, or stout,
Yep.
a third of the cost.
So you're brewing, you said 16 taps.
We have 14 beers.
14 beers on
Yeah,
at a time.
and usually there's a beer or two in the trailer that we can't put on tap because everything's full. So
for sure. And you're brewing on a 1-barrel system.
1 barrel.
So small, super small batch.
Yep.
Fresh on all
Yep.
the time.
Yep.
A lot of turnover,
Yes.
which is great. I mean,
Yep.
you go into your brewery and your whole wall is full of
Labels.
labels. And so there's so much to talk about today, and I want to kind of get to some of those things, right? Kind of what sets you apart is that idea of your labeling, your kind of your graphic design model. How did you come to that? Well, in terms of what's the process?
As far as for
What got
graphics
you to
and stuff,
decide to say, I'm going to brew a beer, right? And no matter what, I'm going to put a really cool graphic out.
Well, it all starts with the name of the beer, because the beer really guides what the graphic is going to end up being. So, like for the pickle beer, it's Tickle My Pickle. And some people get turned off by the name of the beer, but we actually have a pickle on the label.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's kind of how the name starts everything, and then that kind of guides the graphics for it.
So for me, names everything. I've drank a lot of shitty beer because of names and labels.
Yeah.
Walking
Marketing
through,
is
you're going to a
important.
party, you walk through, you see something, you're like, oh, that's funny. You grab it, you get to the party, you drink it, you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
So we're trying to have good beer plus some funny names and some puns, and then put graphics with them that'll make people laugh, or that'll pull, dry eye, make it very colorful
Yeah.
and fun.
Yeah.
So.
And we brought one of those really funny ones today, so...
We'll try that. Can we go to the next level of pickle?
Yes,
Yeah.
pickles.
You want spicy or you want?
Let's do this. Do the new one. The new one.
The garlic horseradish.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna come join us back here or not? Because I'm
Come
getting tired of
on.
looking at you, staring at me like I want to do something for you.
The garlic
So,
horseradish.
while we're pouring that, do you guys have a particular beer that got you into craft? Like, we always ask everybody because I think at one point we're gonna tally up the results. There's a lot of similar
Like, were you guys
crossover.
domestic drinkers? And then what was that one beer that you're like, you know what?
Here's yours.
There's something greater than just a domestic light lager.
Miller Lite was my go-to, honestly, and now I'm a beer snob.
So what was that change for
Fat-
you, right? What was that beer that
We
you could
started
look back to
brewing.
and say, what is that beer that I'm no longer a Miller Lite drinker?
Fat Tire.
Fat Tire?
Yeah.
I like Fat Tire. Never an IPA guy, but I do like Rheingeist Truth.
Oh yeah.
So that's one that's kind of got me to. I yell at him all the time because I was never an IPA guy, and he's made me tolerate them. I don't like that bitterness, the aftertaste. But if I can find an IPA that doesn't have a huge aftertaste and
Cheers.
bitterness, I'm good with it.
Cheers. This is the
Garlic horseradish.
garlic
Yes.
horseradish.
Cheers, sir.
Tickle my
Thank you.
pickle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not overwhelming at all.
Nope. Did you guys get some?
Oh, yes.
Yep. So you're gonna get the garlic on the nose, the garlic on the tongue through, and then on the back you'll get a little bit of the warmth from the horseradish.
Yeah. When did you have that Fat Tire? When did that come into your life?
That was probably. I don't know. I was probably mid-30s, so probably 10, 13 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's a good beer. Yeah. Good gateway beer.
for sure. What about you, man?
I was always a Budweiser, Coors Light type of person, and my father and I started converting over to craft beer. Man, back in the early teens, 2013, something like that. We actually would take trips. We follow the NRA conference and stuff like that. So one of the trips we took was St. Louis, and it's nice because very similar to like the Flats in Cleveland, they have a whole lake or a river district that has a bunch of breweries and stuff like that in it. So we went down and partake in what they had to offer, and it's ever since then it's really just started to take with me to where I stopped buying domestic and started mixing in the craft beers inside of that. So
Yeah, do you have one that sticks out in your mind as saying, you know what, I'm going to switch totally away from kind of that domestic lager to craftiness?
yeah, probably. Man, it was always an IPA for me. I've always loved IPAs. But probably Sierra Nevada.
Yep.
They make a couple different IPAs that were back in that time when they were doing it. But I just love an IPA. So Sierra Nevada is my favorite IPA
Nice.
that I have.
That's one thing that works well about us is our palates are completely different.
Yeah.
Like he's the IPA, I'm the fruity. So like our strawberry blonde.
You
and
are
You watch
fruity.
it back there.
Listen, luckily we have a peanut gallery. It saves me from doing the same thing. Just so we
I
know.
figured it'd be out of you. But I go with the
I felt
fruity
my tongue.
beers.
I had no facial expressions whatsoever. You are fruity, and I love you for every second of that.
But
Middle
that's
names.
good because you guys can develop different kind of beers, and it kind of gives you a wider stance.
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know, when you go to market with those.
We
different
each come up
products.
with different ideas as far as a beer, and then it's just a matter of putting the recipe together and brewing it.
It's kind of funny. We have put the hops in the coconut, which
Yeah.
my wife actually named it after lime in a coconut.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like coconut beers. So when we first opened, I wanted to put it on tap. He's like, we're not doing that. I don't like it. I'm like, no, we're putting it on. It's a good beer. He's like, no, we're not. So we fought about that a little bit, and it went on. It's a big seller for us in the
huge
winter.
seller.
Yeah.
Or in the summer. And people mix that with the strawberry blonde, and I don't know why, but they like to mix all these beers and get different flavors.
They like to mix it with a chocolate nut lover too.
Yeah,
That's-
which are
it's
peanut butter cup
crazy.
stout.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a Medina thing.
I think it is.
Medina County. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people in Avon mix beers occasionally, right? They'll take maybe our Barista Blonde and mix it with the Christmas ale and call it Christmas Morning or something fun like that. But when I go to Medina Brewing Company or anywhere in Medina, people are always mixing beers, like all the time. I want half of this, I want half of that, and it's a consistent theme in all of the breweries
Yep.
that I found. I've been in Medina. They just love to mix beers.
Yeah. It's a
And-
matter of figuring out the next good taste.
Yeah, and it does help us out. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of what might work, what doesn't work. But
Yeah.
it's very common.
Yep.
I remember I think it was our first weekend, Stacy and Jolene, who are regulars of ours now, Jolene came in and she wanted us to mix our Cordially Invited, which is a cherry vanilla stout,
Yeah.
with the peanut butter cup stout. And I looked at her kind of weird, and I was like, was the beer not good enough for you? Why do you need to mix it? And she's like, can I just try it? So I mixed it, and she's like, here, try this. And I tried it. I'm like, that's actually pretty good. It tastes like a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now we call it a PB and Jolene. So she loves having that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
That is
you
cool.
discover new combinations, and maybe it's a beer you
Yep.
brew in the future.
Now let's talk about your personal life real quick, right?
Let's get personal.
great.
Let's get
Let's get personal.
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Fruity man. You mentioned that you still work. And,
Both of us do.
So both of you still work. I still work as a brewery owner.
Yeah.
So for those out there that think that it's all just quit your job and go running, you can
It's
do
all
that
glamorous.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I still have a full-time job, and I know you guys do as well.
Yep.
What's the thought process in that? How does that play out in your daily lives? What's the forward-thinking notion? I know that you're looking at growing,
Yeah.
and you've already not just looking; it's already been taking shape. What does that look like? Where are you at with that?
I think it's added stress on not only us, but obviously the families are experiencing that stress too. When you think about it, I mean, with full-time jobs, it's not like we can do anything during the day. We got to do it at night. So you work a full-time job and you get done with that, and you're working until ungodly hours at night to try to put something together and get it served. And I mean, there's a lot of
It's
stress.
exhausting, but I mean, it's worth it. When you can be, I'm sure you can agree with this. You can be as exhausted as you've ever been, and walk into the brewery and just watch people drink
Yeah.
the beer and how they're enjoying it, and you're like ready to go.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Kind of energizes you.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we wanted to start doing. At the beginning, when we opened up the Hinckley location, Keith and I were there quite a bit. Usually not together that much, but one of us would always be there for one of the shifts and just talk with customers. And we've kind of dropped off of doing that, and we've actually had customers complain because, well, we come to see you and talk to you and stuff like that.
Because we're awesome. That's why.
That's right.
He's a little fruity, though.
You
The
gotta be there.
dudes.
Why are you laughing? You like us.
So...
we love Viva.
That's why they came and crashed our whole party.
Yes.
So we've talked about it, and we've decided to start to get back into that. So like, not this past Friday, but the Friday before, I worked the shift, and I had so much fun. It's not like I forgot how much fun it was, but it reinvigorates you into, wow, I'm actually making a difference. And, I got to talk to a bunch of people, and I had a great time.
Yep.
I mean, it takes a toll, right? So, you're not just brewing beer, 14 taps on a one-barrel system on a regular basis. You always have beer on.
Yeah.
And you got to continue to work through that and make sure you have extra stock and do, what's the next beer coming up seasonal-wise, but also what's backing up those things. And in light of that, you're not just doing all of those things. You're not just working your full-time jobs.
Yeah.
You're not just tending bar, right, which is what we all do sometimes.
Yeah.
You're not just also running a business and taking care of the books and paying your employees and paying your rent. You're also expanding.
Yeah.
Do you guys have you want to share with our viewers about what that looks like for you guys moving forward?
Yeah. So we're looking at opening up a location in Medina. Last week we actually got the good news. All the plans are done. The civil engineers are going back and forth with the county for a little bit of stuff, and then everything should be submitted to the county by the end of the week. And then the whole bid process will kick in right after that to figure out, okay, how much we got to spend to be able to get the Medina location up and running. We're expecting to have all of that stuff, according to our GC, by probably the end of the first week of November. So we could really start to sit down and think about, okay, how are we going to do this and make sure we've got the financial ability to be able to take care of it. So.
And while we have a large audience here, anybody who wants to know when we're going to open, they keep on asking. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the big question we get is when's it going to have? We don't know yet.
We've had some setbacks with
Yeah.
this whole process. We found out some things about the building that we're looking to go into that we didn't know about and are a huge hurdle to try to get past. So that's really slowed a lot of it down. I mean, we had a lot of push for it at the beginning. We did all the demo ourselves, and really
With help from our regulars, which we
help
appreciate.
from regulars, which we really sat down and started to kind of visualize what this is going to look like. And then you start to get bad news. And you're like, okay, how do I deal with that? Well, let's go this route. And you get another set of bad news. And you're like, okay, well, how do we deal with that? Well, let's do this.
You know
and
about this.
it's one thing after another. And
Do I know?
then you start to get into the plan side. And I never realized that drawings would cost so much money and take so long to get done. But they do. And at least we've got everything now, and we can submit to county this week. And
Which is a big deal. And I don't think people really understand what that's like to be an entrepreneur and to really start the process. It's almost like, hey, you have the equipment that you're spec'd out. Hey, you found a spot. What does that look like? And so, you know, and honestly, I feel for where you're at right now. I mean, we went through a two-year process of the very same thing.
Yep.
And architectural drawings are really important because they're on the hook for all of these things. You have a building that might not be sufficient for what you're at.
Yep.
You know, you're looking at 20% of the price of the actual building build out
just in drawings.
Correct.
in architectural drawings.
Yep.
So in our case, that's a $5 million project. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Just if you're out there in math land, we're not math guys over here. They already said that to you. But that's insane, right?
Yeah.
And for us, that's where we're at because we lost that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's gone.
Yep.
And that might be the same for you as you walk through the path. And so why do we do this? We do this because we love people.
Yeah.
We love the beer community.
Yeah.
We love what it's done for us as individuals. I mean, we're friends, man. And that's something that you can't ever look back on and say, you know, beer did that.
Yep.
You know, the brewing community did that.
Yep.
We've shared recipes and concepts and ingredients and love and friendship and tears and everything possible along the way.
Yep.
We shared pickles.
Oh,
Listen,
take it.
I will share their 2 pickles any freaking day of the week. That's not a laugh.
I'll drink to that.
You mark that down. I'm telling you right now on the internet. That's where we're at. And so
Take us out of the equation and look at what we've done for the community. Being a very small area in Hinckley, it was amazing. Our first weekend.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was crazy our first weekend. I mean, Friday was a little slow get going. Saturday was like,
no, Friday was not. We had people in the parking lot waiting.
Well, we did.
Like 30 people waiting in the parking lot
But
an hour before we opened for the first time.
Saturday, you get done with Saturday, and we were so exhausted.
Yeah.
We're like, how do I find the strength to get up
keep
for
doing
Sunday?
Yeah.
And it was amazing because that Sunday, while it was a little bit slower, that evening we had the bar totally full, which were small. So there's only 10 bar stools at the bar. And you had these 2 brothers that are sitting back here in this corner. And Keith and I were talking to them. And then they had people sitting next to them. I mean, the whole bar was full. And then there was a back table that was full. And we started talking, and where do you live? And the brothers were like, well, we live down at Mattingly and Ridge. And the couple that was next to them, they're like, well, we live at Mattingly and Ridge. People never met each other.
Neighbors.
And the back table lived at Mattingly and Ridge also. So all 3, they ended up coming up to the front bar, and we ended up staying open so late that night because
They kept on buying each other beers.
Yeah. And it brings the community together. Yep. I mean, people that lived next to each other for years and years didn't know each other. We brought that together.
Yeah,
so people think I'm crazy.
Maria and Tom live. They walked here tonight. And that because of ABC.
Yep. And people think we're crazy when we talk about this. I mean, we say it all the time. We are here because of you, but we're here for you.
Yeah.
We're here for you and because of you. And that's what it is. It's that relationship model that beer does with people and breweries and community. It is just wonderful. And you heard a story from the very first weekend, like it was, you saw it in your eyeballs, right? You saw it out there and the interwebs. That's real.
Yeah.
You're excited about it, cast that vision of why you're doing it, why you still do it, and why you're still trying to increase that production.
Yep.
You know, they're still working full-time jobs. It's not a crazy moneymaker. It's people.
Yeah.
It's people.
Absolutely.
It's the industry. It's the love for what we do, the craft that we're creating, the smiles on the faces of people.
Yep.
You know, and we share that same thing together. And I really appreciate all of that.
No, we appreciate everything you do for us.
And I love you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, let me bring in this. We were going to talk about this a little bit later. We have a segment we teach people about stuff, but
Spicy? So we're going to
I'm
spicy.
just kind of
now.
interested.
Spicy.
Like when you decide to start up a brewery, you have to make some trade-offs. You're like, well, don't know if this is going to work. We're going to start at a certain size. I mean, you can go for a 10-barrel system right off the rip, but you don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So you trade that off for a smaller system, maybe, and
Yep.
you just work harder and you just muscle through it. Is that kind of somewhere where you were at?
So what we have right now, obviously 1 barrel. You want to chug that?
Yeah.
We have the 1 barrel. We have a 7 barrel sitting and collecting dust right now at the Medina location. We're just waiting for everything to finally take place, because in our mind, I can brew all day on a 1 day or on a 1 barrel system, right? But I have to work my ass off to be able to do that. If I can go to a 7 barrel, now we can start to distribute, because we have a hard enough time keeping it on tap at our place.
For sure.
Let alone trying to support the bars that want us to have us on tap, the stores that have approached both of us and asked us to put us on the
And
shelves.
begged, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we can't do it. We're like, we would love to. I mean,
Well, the
it's-
problem is you screw yourself a little bit, because like you got these little stores that want to put you on the shelf, and then you're like, okay, you go on the shelf, and then like 2 weeks later, all your beer's gone. They're like, we need more, and I'm like, I don't have it. So you're at a point where you're like, I'm not going to do it until we can
Just
support
keep
all the time.
stocked, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and then there's got to be the calculation. Well, if I brew 7 barrels of this beer, I can blow it out all day long. This beer, maybe it sits for a little longer, so you're constantly adjusting inventory levels and
Those beers that are not quick movers, we can drop that down. The nice thing with a 7 barrel system is we can brew a minimum of 5 on it, and probably could take that down to a 3 or a 4. You'd have to adjust the recipe, obviously, to do that, but you could do that on those slower moving beers. But on a 7 barrel or on a beer like Pickle, where we can't keep it in stock,
And you're doing 3
yeah,
out with
3
one.
different styles.
it's
yeah.
the same base beer.
Yeah,
It's
same
just
beer.
different brine that we add into it. So, I mean, it will be so much nicer. I mean, we've talked about it, and the thought process is when we open, we can actually brew on the 7 barrel. We'll brew every one of the 14 beers and put it into the cooler.
Yep.
And then we can actually take a break and start to really see what do we want to do next, because now I got stock. Now it's not as, I don't have to brew every day because I've got all of the stock. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first month is going to be crazy as could be to try to get everything out there. But you do all of that, and then you kind of sit back and you think about, okay, where really is the beers that move the best? On a 1 barrel system, it's really hard to tell what truly moves quicker than the others. You get to a 7 barrel where you have a larger stock. Now you can truly visualize what beer is moving, and how do I move with that beer, either up or down, to where I always have fresh beer available.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are going to say, but you're successful now, right?
Yeah.
You're selling all your beer. You're popular. People want you to be around. Why change that? And what you said means a lot to me, because I live it.
Yeah.
But out there, the idea of the same amount of time and energy to
It takes
produce
the 1 barrel.
31 gallons of beer,
Yeah.
right,
It
is
takes
the
the same
same
amount of time for a 7 barrel.
as the time for a 7 barrel, which
Yeah.
is 7 times the amount of beer.
Yeah.
You're talking about cost savings, time saving, heartache savings.
Yep.
Like it's just an immense change.
We can start to bring our prices down, and we can start to distribute. I mean, right now, when you've got a bar that wants to put us on tap at their place, they're expecting me to give them Budweiser prices. Well, we can't afford a $75 keg of beer going to a place.
I'll
We
never
just
change that.
you can't do it.
No,
But I mean,
Not
that's what they expect, because that's what they get from all the distributors that are out there. Well,
Right,
we're
for
a
sure.
small company, and we're
They don't carry
Sorry,
your
we're-
kick-ass product.
yeah.
I mean, you guys are the best in the area, so
Yeah.
stick to that.
We're the number 1 in Hinckley.
Hell yes.
Number
You heard it here. Number one brewery in Hinckley, Ohio. Freaking love it.
Let's talk about this.
Let's cheers to that
Talk about this
first.
beer. Yeah.
Cheers.
This is
So-
your spicy pickle.
This is the spicy. So all the difference is it's a little less dill on this, but a little more of the spice. So you get the dill on the tongue and to the back, and then you have a little bit of warmth on the back of the throat, which is really just a jalapeno.
Yeah.
Tom is crawling on the ground. You
very
can
nice.
see yourself, by the way, just so you know.
Here, let me move.
Does he have that much pickle beer?
Our beer's good enough to crawl for.
Hell yes, it is.
Yes.
We did bring Betty.
And I showed him.
So excited.
He's happy.
So excited.
Nice.
All right, hey man,
It's time for
let's get into the boil, man. So homebrew stuff.
Heck yeah.
I've had a busy week. I
I love to hear this, by the way.
I kegged that bourbon barrel aged barley wine.
Yep.
I got some bottles. We could try that. if
We're
you
going to try one later,
want.
or now,
Yeah.
or whenever.
I'll have to get Tom back there to pull it out of the fridge. I decided I think it's pretty good, and I want to enter it in the Son of Bruzilla. But maybe if you guys try it, you can help me out. Should I go American or English barley wine?
Probably should have done that before we had pickle.
That's a barley
that
one. That's
would've
your
been-
last
that
one
would've-
of the night. That's
that
that's what's
would've
called
been a
face
good idea.
plant. Face plant.
Yeah, it was about 10% when it went into the barrel. I kept it in there about 6 months, and
Holla.
so it's I don't know.
What kind of
11
barrel
and
do
a
you
half.
use?
It is a bluegrass distilling whiskey barrel, American oak.
Mm.
So it was a 5-gallon barrel, so it's a lot of surface.
A lot of
area.
surface level.
Yeah. So
So you did the face plant barrel aged.
face plant barrel aged. I also kegged up and conditioned the Doctoberfest.
Which we saw
Fake.
pictures of.
Fake Marzen style, because I used the Kveikis because I procrastinated. So
Yeah, it still
it's a little
works.
bit
I think it
hoppy
tasted fine.
because of my mistake with
Yeah,
the
but that's
hops.
not because of the yeast.
No,
That's
Not
just
at all.
because of your
Stupid
different
screw-up.
move on the hops.
So we also contracted with a company too. Matthias and I we've been talking about. I brew at a offsite storage condo in Avon Lake, and I just leave it's a gas system, and I just open the door and just brew in there.
Yep.
But I've been thinking about bringing the brewery home, just to kind of save some money.
Here,
Yeah, in the garage. So
electric or gas?
I'm gonna move to gas or electric. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
going electric. Do the condensing lid
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of the boil off problem. But contracted with a company to finish the floor. Got to get that done first. So after that's done, we'll start moving stuff back and seeing if I can still get the cars in. It's
gonna be tight on that wall.
It's gonna be
You're
tight. Yeah,
Super
The beer
tight.
system is more important than the cars.
I know. Yeah,
There's plenty of
Just leave the
parking
car
out front.
outside. Who
Let's leave the
cares?
car outside.
Gotta
Yeah, I
get the
didn't-
wife's car in there.
Well, that's the only car you got to
100%.
worry about.
Put it in
Yeah.
guest parking. It's fine.
You got wife
exactly
rage
true.
going to me.
No, we don't need that.
No, we don't. She's not down here, is she?
She's
She
upstairs.
is not.
You know, with all this equipment here, we need to make sure that she's happy.
I know. That's right. So yeah.
That's exciting.
So pro brew happenings. What's going on at ABC?
So we just released our Maui Brewing Company collaboration beers. We have the Kukua, which I've been talking about, which is the collaboration beer that was across the board through. I mean, there was 100 people who brewed the same beer.
Yeah.
We kind of tweaked it for our own selves. We needed to kind of harvest our hazy yeast, so we did it as a prop beer. But everything else was the same. That beer's on tap right now in Avon, the Kukua IPA. That proceeds of that beer, literally every single penny of that will go to the Maui Brewing Fire Fund, which is to local people, which is the best we know what to do, right? We have connections to Maui, and we have a little family condo there, and of course it's part of my skin, and we just love the people there.
Yeah.
It gets ingrained in who you are, and anything we can do to give back for that. So when you buy the glass, the glass of beer, you can buy a koozie and a sticker on top of that. Again, that 100% of that goes. We don't keep any of it. You buy that, all of that money goes to Maui. That was the deal we did with them. We actually have two beers on. We have the Kukua IPA, And then we also have the Maui Sands, which is a Pog milkshake IPA. And that beer, you'd love that, Fruit Man.
Yep.
Is going to also go to Hawaii. We have I think we have 2 shirts left that were specific to our collaboration. So come to Avon and get that, finish up those kegs, and really help out people in Maui. We're looking at donating thousands of dollars to
That's awesome.
that fund, which is great.
Yeah.
This is the whole purpose, right?
Yep.
Beer's community's family.
Yep.
That's what we're after.
Yep.
We had a great beer dinner recently,
Oh yeah.
which was fantastic.
Yeah.
All those beers are now on tap. And this month, we are going to be releasing our Christmas Miracle.
Oh.
Yep. A couple weeks, about a week and a half, we'll be releasing in draft. And we're canning it on October the 24th, right in Avon. So 15 barrels in the canner. And it's going to be exciting.
Sounds
That's
awesome.
It's a lot going
Yeah.
on. So
Cool.
good stuff.
Yeah. What about the Hoppy Dudes? What do you guys got going on?
We did brew our Christmas. It is set to be released. We're hoping the first week of November, maybe the last weekend of October. We do have a Halloween party. So Hinckley being a small community, and houses are 2 to 5 to 7 to 10 acres. I mean, it's hard for kids to walk between houses to get candy. So the township actually does a big community event, and it's all the businesses set up, have tents, and they hand out candy to all the kids. So the parents and the kids are walking down the street. They're getting candy from all the businesses, and then anybody else that wants to hand out candy. We take advantage of that, one, because we love Halloween and we love the kids and everything. So we actually give out not only candy to the kids, but we give candy to the parents in the process of giving them coupons to stop into the brewery, which where they end up putting the kids outside and coming in to the brewery and getting a beer off of us. Yeah, right? It's a win-win.
Win.
So we take advantage of that. It's a big thing for us. We're all about the community. You know, we donate into Buzzards Day, which is back in March, and you know the Halloween piece. We do the 4th of July stuff. So we really try to be big part of the actual community itself. I'm hoping that a surprise beer. It's a Halloween candy beer. I'm hoping I can have ready for that party on the 28th, but the trick or treat in Hinckley is on the 28th from 4 to 6. We have our costume party starting at 7, and I'm hoping to have the Halloween candy
Who's
beer
dressing
ready
up as
for
a
that.
pickle? Come on.
I might. we also last week we had our fall fest, which we released seven
For you guys.
of our fall beers are all back, so that's pretty exciting.
7 new beers.
Mhm.
God, you guys are crazy.
Yep.
A
Well,
little bit.
7 was with the garlic horseradish. Yeah.
Okay. Well, 6.
6.
And you brought some tonight, correct?
We brought Hoppy Fall, which is our caramel apple butter ale, and then we brought
Oats and
Hose. Again, we play on the name.
Oats and hose. Oats and
Oats and
hose.
Hose.
Nice.
It's a maple and brown sugar oatmeal stout we brought with us. So yeah.
That name is courtesy of my sister-in-law Patty, who I said I need a oatmeal stout name, and like that she's like Oats and Hose.
Oh,
I'm like, that's it.
This is the
Is this the barley
barrel-aged
wine?
face plant.
yeah.
What's the ABV on this?
It was 10 going into
Oh,
barrel,
so,
so
okay.
probably, I don't know, 11 and a half.
Thank God we did pickle to start then.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
That's nice.
I don't taste the alcohol.
I mean, while we're sipping on this, Dave,
I get the
you know, I want
whiskey.
to kind of reiterate what Hoppy Dudes was saying, because it's really important, I think, for everybody to know what the connection is to your community.
Yeah.
You're in a small town of Hinckley, the only one there on that far side of Medina County.
Yep.
And the process of being ingrained in your community is really what most breweries are doing, right? We donate to causes. We're involved in the schools. I know just even on Friday night for Avon's homecoming, all season long, we sponsored every touchdown that was that was scored for Avon right on the big screen, and we're on the back page of the program.
Yep.
The cheerleaders pass out shirts, and on that shirt in the back right there is our big logo for Avon Brewing Company. We sponsor the team meals. You know, we do that not because it generates any type of business for us,
Doesn't.
We do it because
does
why?
some, but you do it because it's a matter of giving back, right?
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. But it's really about giving back to the community, because the community is the one that comes and supports you.
Totally.
So we have to give back to the community. How do you do that? We do the same thing with Buzzards Day.
Yep.
So our staff will volunteer their time, and Buzzards Day starts at 5:30 in the morning for some of us, but 6 o'clock in the morning. Pancake breakfast kicks off at usually around 8 o'clock, but we have our staff, they go in and they volunteer their time on that day to give to that overall event.
Yep.
And then we're a big sponsor of that event and stuff like that. And the hope is that people come to us afterwards, but it's not the expectation. It's
For sure.
about giving back to the community and being in front of the community and letting them see, hey, we are here and we're
We care.
supporting you as a community, so come and support us.
For sure.
Yeah.
Our
I
big
love it.
thing not only is just community, like military, fire,
Yeah.
police, all that. We do a lot of stuff, fundraising type things to
Yeah.
give back to them as well.
For good reason, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, his dad was in Vietnam. My dad was in Vietnam. My wife's 32 years in the Air Force currently.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have that military background. We have a lot of fire and police that come into to the brewery.
Teachers, the first
Nurses.
Friday of every month is Teacher Appreciation Days.
Mhm.
The Hinckley Elementary ladies come in as soon as shift is over, and they sit there and drink and call their husbands, and their husbands come up and
Yep.
sit there and drink with them.
Best day
and-
ever.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a matter of giving back. That's all it's about.
I mean, we
Totally
work with the VFWs. Like we do a pale ale. It's called Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we donate the beers to them, kegs, and
Yeah.
they sell them and they keep that profit
That's great.
around 4th of July.
Yep.
We are moving in Medina right next to the Medina VFW, so
Yep.
we'll be doing stuff with them.
Yep.
So that's like a huge focus for us.
And we sell veteran stars also, which will start to come up here in the next couple days, where we'll start selling for a month or 15 days. I forget what it is, but leading up to Veterans Day, we sell stars. So it's our customers buy a star, that money goes right to the VFW, the local VFW that we deal with. So
Yep.
That's
It's
wonderful.
great. Yeah, it's important. I mean, this day and age when there's a lot of animosity towards, police, I don't know if firefighters feel it so much, but, you got to support the
Yep.
people that keep us safe and protect us every day.
So, as you can probably tell, we are nearing that hour mark. This is one of those events that's just going to go over. So bear with us as we have a wonderful session tonight.
We're sorry.
It's going to be a long. Don't be sorry. This is going to be a long episode. This is fantastic.
cracked
We got
into
6
the other
viewers.
beers.
We're going to get our
Six
money's
viewers.
worth today, right? So before we move off of homebrews, I want to kind of
Okay.
talk about one more thing for
Okay.
Avon Brewing Company. So I'm wearing my brown stuff today. Last week I talked to you about us being part of the Taste of the Browns event, where we were again giving back to the community, sponsoring the Greater Cleveland Food Bank by donating a ton of food and beer for the cause. They think they raised almost $400,000 that night just for Cleveland Food Bank. This beer, we're releasing it soon. Wearing my Browns gear here today, right? My Avon Browns gear, you can see it. This is a beer we haven't had out in a year. This is Dog's Got to Eat, right? This is a hazy. This is Pete killing it in the haze game.
Yeah.
This might kick some of your fruitiness there in the hoppy version.
I
right?
don't mind
Nice little
hazies.
hazy. This is Dog's Got to Eat. We'll be on at Avon Brewing Company relatively soon, hopefully as we head into the season, maybe off our bye week.
So this week,
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
Get in there and drink some beers. We just
So
released
this-
4 new beers. So
you said you just took this off the break
yeah,
tank
tonight
today? Yeah.
took this off the bright tank. So this is fresh out of the tank.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's tasty. I mean, that's one of my
Pineapple,
all-time
tropical,
favorites.
Cascade?
Is it 8%?
no Cascade.
No Cascade?
Is it 8%? Yeah, of course
Of
it's
course it is.
8%.
It's ABC. I mean,
Just wondering.
Of course it's 8%.
I would say this is a 1.75.
Tom,
Tastes
Tom,
like a hazy.
Untapped?
Tastes
Tom?
like a hazy.
look what shirt he's wearing. Beer snob.
Sorry.
Snob stands for son of a nutcracker.
I'm back.
So
That was the best.
Look for Dogs Gotta Eat coming to
That's good. I
Avon
like
Brewing
that.
Company.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna drink my share.
Does
of
that go down to Medina too, or it just stays at Avon?
Stays in Avon.
Yeah.
But, depending on what Liz wants, maybe Liz gets what she wants, which is pretty much always how it goes.
Liz,
Yeah, it's-
get some.
Liz always gets what she wants. So
And that's how it works, right? Good people.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, so other happenings. I just threw this in the Happenings Book House. Just had their 5-year anniversary.
Big deal.
And I bring that up because they launched a beer, Old Leaky Scotch Ale,
Mm-hmm.
aged in Islay Scotch barrels.
Mm.
That
We should
sounds
make a
wonderful
trip.
to me. Yeah, we should. I love the smoky scotches, and that's a Scotch ale on those barrels, man. So I gotta get.
I
that
mean, I
checked
love
out.
Vaughn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Great brewer. Vaughn
for sure.
really took us under. We talk about people who take people under their wings, right? We didn't do anything different for you as we've done for us.
Yeah.
When we first opened up, Vaughn was over at Portside. We did some collaborations with them as we were planning the process of what we wanted to see happen and how we could utilize different styles of beer. And our Blueberry Beauregard is an offshoot of one of our collaborations with Vaughn. Our Clash of Clans, which is our kind of our house red ale, our Scotch Irish ale, is really a takeoff of a collaboration with Vaughn. Vaughn is Irish and I'm Scottish, and it's a nice mix of that Irish red and that Scottish shilling.
The Clash of
Of
Clams.
Clans.
Clams?
No clams. Clans. We're drinking pickles
clams
here
or
tonight, Dave.
clams?
There's no clams involved tonight.
It is a
Not-
season.
'Tis the season for clams. And we're canceled. That's it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
we're on the
Show's
upswing.
over.
Episode,
Just took Happy Days and ruined it.
episode 30, done.
We're done.
And done. So, Vaughn, congratulations on 5 years with your new location. It's doing a great job there. Your beers are always excellent.
For sure, man. I'm gonna check that one out for sure.
Heck yeah. Cheers,
We
brother.
got some other beer releases. Bascule Hot Witch Fall Jalapeno Mango Double IPA. I'm gonna get out there and check
Support
that out.
Chris. I drove by the other day.
Oh yeah.
happy.
Terrestrial. They did a version of their Canopy Crusher.
Said virgin.
I did. Canopy Crisper.
Virgin.
Mosaic and Chinook hops, but they used a different yeast just to let it finish a little clearer. So that'll be interesting to check out. We love those guys. They're always coming up with something new and different. Noble Beast, double barrel aged boombox Imperial Stout.
Okay,
Now-
Sean. Okay.
This, it so much evaporated after it came out 20 months or so. A 12-hour boil of wort and topped it up and put it back in the barrels for another 2 months.
Yep.
12-hour boil? Just really concentrated wort, put it back
It's
in
going to
there?
be a thick boy.
Wow. Did I read that right?
Syrup.
That's what it says.
Was a Watershed Distillery bourbon barrels for 2 more months, 24 months total. Yeah.
Well done.
Imperial Stout.
Another place to go.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Sean's always killing it over there at Noble Beast.
Yep. They have some great beers. Great Lakes, their first pour is coming up.
The
12th?
12th.
Yep.
Next week.
Down at the tap room.
So the tap room.
No.
No, it'll be
This
this
week.
weekend.
Thursday.
It'd actually be
Thursday. 2
Thursday.
days.
Thursday,
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
days. Crazy.
I know.
It's always a great event. People pack the place
Yeah, and
out.
they're just 35th year anniversary. We've talked about that before. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Good for them.
Amazing. Yeah.
Congratulations, gentlemen and ladies, and all the people who now collectively own Great Lakes.
Yes. So beer events. Recapping Cleveland Beer Week. I didn't go to a lot. Friend Chris, who was there with Molder Brew Barn.
Yep.
They had tap takeover. We had a bunch of good beers, and watched him conduct his
Ooh, his trivia.
his beer trivia. Some of those questions I was struggling, man.
That kid's a trip, brother.
Yeah, guy's funny. It's a good time.
Love Chris and his work with the right here with the Brewfest. But the Moeller beer was nice. It was a nice event
It
to
was
step
good.
out into Beerhead here in Avon.
Yeah, I like that. They had that pineapple IPA. I thought it was really
Is ours to
good.
go?
It was good.
Coming up, on the 14th, noon to 10, Hansa is having their Oktoberfest. Now they have Stein races, and in the description it wasn't clear. Are you chugging a Stein, a liter, or are you racing with it?
Let's hope they're chugging.
Let's hope they're chugging. Yeah.
Speaking of Oktoberfests and medals, championships, marionette and holding, how did that go, by the way?
You know what? We missed it.
We missed it.
Christine was not able to compete.
How'd she miss it?
I don't know. It's a sore spot. Don't bring it up. When you see him, don't bring it up.
I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah,
I have to.
She's a champion.
Wow. How do you not compete as champion?
Yeah, I know.
We're going to keep her as in our hearts, champion. Christine, you're a champion for another year.
We're gonna just hold that over because I don't
She had
know
a bye
if
year.
anybody I don't
Bye
know
week.
if anybody was able to do it this year. I didn't see it.
She's a winner.
She's still a champion. So.
Always a champion.
So we had talked about the the Fueled by Hops people.
Yep.
They're sponsoring or they're running a beer fest at Ill Willed, October 21st. It's down like south of Youngstown near Columbiana.
Yep.
But they just had 3 breweries join on to that, including Dank House.
I love Dank House.
Yeah, that's Grist House out in Pittsburgh. We've been there. They have some great beers. And Coven in Pittsburgh. Been there. Well, actually, I haven't been to Coven as a brewery, but I did have their beers at the beer fest. We were out there.
Very Halloween-y name.
Yeah, very, very Coven. Dank House. That's a little Halloweeny.
I love Dank House. Have you been to Dank House?
I have not been there, but I've had some of their beers.
In Newark.
Sure.
That's a definite stop off for anybody. So we're having one of your 6 fall seasonals. What is this one?
Ooh.
So this is Hoppy Fall. It's a caramel apple butter ale.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
This was a mistake beer.
Oh, good mistake.
Yeah,
Wow,
right?
that's a good
Yes.
mistake.
The mistake beer was we ended up using the incorrect yeast on it. I was telling Dave about this before you got here.
When you say we, what do you mean? Who did
We
that?
means
I did.
Me.
I screwed up. So
You recovered nicely, though.
I did. So that day we brewed both our Hef and our Crop Duster, which is our farmhouse ale that we have.
Crop duster.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's why you made the name.
So we were brewing it, and I'm very methodical. I measure everything out. I get everything all on its line as far as when it's got to go in. And that day, I ended up using the Hef yeast inside of our farmhouse ale. And when I got to doing the Hef later in the day, I'm looking at the yeast, and I'm like, why do I have the farmhouse ale yeast out? So I switched it out, and I used the Hef yeast inside of the Hef beer. But I like to start tasting things. Day 3, I like to taste it when it's still fermenting, just to kind of get an idea of what's the notes on it, how does everything come out. And I tasted it day 3, and I'm like, ooh, there's something wrong there. So I tasted it on day 4, same thing. Day 5, same thing, still fermenting. So I'm like, let me give it a couple days. So day 7, I taste it. Fermentation is done at that point, and I taste it, and I'm like, oh, this beer is way off. And it finally hit me because I was getting the banana and the clove as my taste. I'm like, I ended up using the Hef yeast inside of the farmhouse ale. So I was going to dump it. Keith and I talked about it, and I was going to dump it. And it was my wife.
Pungent.
What was the grain bill like?
It's the farmhouse grain bill. So it's your pale.
Corn.
There's a little bit of corn in it. There's some wheat in it. I mean, it's just typical
You got the
farmhouse.
cloudiness from the farmhouse.
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. So the girls, my wife and our bar manager Katie, they've talked about it. They're like, well, let's do something that has to do with fall. So they're like, well, let's try to figure out how to do the caramel, maybe an apple, do a caramel apple. And then my wife, I would think, said, well, maybe we can put some butter inside of it also. So we ended up trying to figure it out, and we took a mistake beer and we made a caramel apple butter ale.
Brewed up some diacetyl and
Yeah.
stuck it in there. It's good.
So it's good.
No, there was no diacetyl, right? It was just an additional.
Yeah.
What did you add to it?
Amaretti has some stuff that's out there. So
No, that's Monin.
was it
Monin?
Monin? Okay.
Monin.
They're all kind of the same flavor profiles.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Very good.
Dave, so not too far away in Ohio City, looking at kind of these, I'm not saying this is a cider beer, but it kind of has that kind of appley background to it. There's an event in Ohio City where they do have a hard cider music festival.
Yeah, I was looking at music festivals and I came across this. So like, what's this kind of beer related? It's called the Core Pour.
Sounds fantastic.
And they have a bunch of hard ciders and they have food trucks and some bluegrass music,
dude, my
Americana.
man.
Yeah, I mean, that's country-ish.
It's all me, 100%.
So I think I'm not really sure, but I think it's an outdoor event. It is October 21st, a little late. I don't know if it's going to be super cold, but wear a jacket and get out there and check out some hard ciders.
Maybe we should check it out. Do some reels.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I love it. So as we look forward to not just beer events, which this time of the year are just wonderful. You have crossovers between Oktoberfest and pumpkin ales, and even this week is Christmas ale releases for people across the board. We know we like to promote not just beer, but also music. I know you did some research this week. What do you got for us?
Well, we got Billy Morris and the Sunset Strip playing October 14th this weekend at the local in Strongsville. And we discovered it's kind of close to Four Paws.
Listen, out that way,
Sort of.
everything's kind of close to Four Paws.
I mean, if so I would say go out to Four Paws, have a pint, and then continue on to the show.
It's
So
right
that's
on
20
Pearl.
minutes.
The local's right on Pearl. It's on Pearl before you even get to Route 82, which you would take out towards Four Paws to get to them.
I'll give a shout out to Columbia Station where Four Paws is because that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not. I mean, it's close to Strongsville, but not exactly by the local.
Ish.
Yeah, it's ish.
Ish.
We're
That's
hoping
why
that's the
ish.
closest
Ish.
place
It's
to it.
You
Ish.
instead
yeah.
of kind of Dave, you probably should have used ish.
Ish,
Kind of ish.
Kind of ish.
which is a good
Yeah.
venue. It's a nice
But
place.
I love
It
Four
is.
Paws, and I
Hay rides
they're
all
doing great
season.
things, yeah.
Pumpkins.
Yep,
all
I was
the
just there this
fun.
week.
Yeah. So, I tried to find some.
I do like this next one.
This is all like rock.
But I'm okay with this one, though.
Okay. Bullet for My Valentine.
I like this.
Agora, October 18th.
Yes,
They're great. Love them.
they are great.
Now, Sunshine Daydream is playing the Winchester October 19th. Grateful Dead tribute. The only reason that's on this list because it's named after the Fatheads beer.
The beer.
Sunshine Daydream. Yeah.
It's fine.
That just caught my eye. October 10th at the Winchester Taproot. Kind of like a screamy kind of 90s
Your kind of
rock.
band.
Yeah, I really
sure.
like them. I really like Taproot. So, I don't know. And we talked about this one.
My
December
dudes.
1st. Yeah. Steel Panther.
As crazy as it sounds, I love these guys.
If you've never seen Steel Panther, you got to check them out.
I love
They're
them.
funny. They're just
hilarious. It's
but
gross
it's not,
and dirty.
They're not a joke band.
No, they're
just
ridiculously
They're
great musicians,
fantastic.
man.
Yeah.
The lyrics are fun. It's at Temple Live
Yeah.
in January.
Just-
in December.
You're
We should
gonna
go.
like it. You should.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
You got to go.
So we got Zebra, November 10th at the House of Blues. It caught my eye because it's like an old 70s,
It is.
70s, 80s
Yep.
band. I don't think they had really much commercial success, but it's a great band if you like.
And the venue's killer.
Yeah, if you like Led Zeppelin, stuff like that.
Old Led Zeppelin, for sure.
Yeah,
Zeppelin.
old Scorpions, things like
Yeah.
that. This is my jam right here.
Dying Fetus and
Dying
Mushroom
Fetus.
Head.
Dying Fetus, November 14th.
The
House of
Screamo
Blues.
dude over here.
Oh.
You're right.
Straight up death metal. They've been around since the 90s, like early 90s. But yeah, I love Dying Fetus. Mushroom Head, I can't go, but
Your
it's
fave.
October 29th at the Agora.
Yep.
We saw them at Incarceration this past year, and it's off the hook, man. Just crushing it.
Yep.
Hairband.
I don't mind Dragon Force.
No,
No, I do
you
not.
know Dragon Force.
I do know Dragon
All right,
Force.
November 8th at the Agora
Pete also.
with Amaranth, and there's a couple other opening bands. Amaranth is they have a female singer, and they're kind of like a power metal,
Yep.
like Dungeons and Dragons,
Mm-hmm.
fantasy metal band, as is Dragon Force. And this caught my eye, and I know it's early.
Way
2024.
I know, July 17th,
But
2024.
there's a reason for this.
It's the Grunge Boat.
I know.
Grunge boat?
It's the Grunge Boat.
It's
They're
the whole
Grunge
boat.
this
Boat.
band, Grunge DNA, is a cover band. They're going to take over the Good Time 3.
Which I love the good time.
Going to sail out of Cleveland. The Good Time 3 goes out of Cleveland, right? I think
It does.
it's downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I love me some grunge. I wore my tough
The
shirt.
tough shirt.
Not really. They're not grunge. They were anti-grunge, but I don't know. Ties in sort of. I like grunge, so
I like grunge.
there we go.
We've got a couple also.
Yeah.
So you've got the local in here on the 14th. On the 21st, 1988, which is a 80s hair band. They're at the
I've heard of them.
local. Yeah,
The
they're at the
local?
local. My cousin is the lead singer for that.
That's crazy.
And then I
Wow.
know your
And
brother-in-law.
in February, my brother-in-law's in a band called Metal Edge. It's a 80s hair band.
Nice.
They'll be
Love
there.
80s hair.
Yeah.
That's
Where's
our
that?
that's our jam. That's
Yeah,
our
that's
connect-
where we.
That's our
that's
connection.
The Venn diagram.
Dave's on.
connects.
Yes. So we have this crazy Venn diagram where there's this crazy screamo rock,
And then there's country.
country on the bottom, and we have it.
There's a little bit of rap in there.
I'm good with rap. That's fine
Yeah.
too. And then we kind of fit right in the middle with this, with that kind of 80s hair band,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
right
for
dead
sure.
center.
Yeah.
And we're all in on that
Yep.
one. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, everybody's got
And Steel
one.
Panther's dead center.
Yes. Oh, that's the
I might have to go to
epicenter.
that.
I gotta tell you, their lead singer is probably one of the best singers ever. He says some crazy stuff.
I don't know about that, but
in
he's
terms
pretty
of
good.
in terms of yeah, covering
Yeah.
the 80s style.
Who's your
Yeah,
favorite
for
band?
sure, yeah.
Huh?
Who's your favorite band?
Like
I'm
actual
a huge
band.
country fan, man.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
What is it? Spill it. Who is it? Favorite
Favorite.
band?
I can't give you one off the top of
Okay.
my head.
That's
Think
Garth
about
Brooks.
It. Think about it. Okay.
I'm a huge
I've
Garth Brooks fan.
seen him many times.
Seen him
Yeah, he's really
a
good.
whole bunch of times. I've met him before.
Garth, or when he was the other alias name?
What was it?
Garth non-alias. Pre-alias and now post-alias. So
Down
Garth
the
is
line,
just
down
across
the
the
line.
board. There's plenty more, but if you're going to go with one, that's kind of a
All right.
I see that.
George Strait, good man.
What, favorite?
Yeah,
Yes.
favorite.
My favorite band ever is Weezer.
Weezer. Okay.
Yep.
Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel. I
Solid.
know
Solid.
everything.
Super solid. Dave,
All right, let's move on.
what's your favorite band?
Panther?
I know he's a Maiden guy.
Iron
Totally.
Maiden.
Iron Maiden. Yeah.
Tommy?
Genesis.
Ooh, yeah. Phil Collins
Really?
or
Yes.
Early Phil and some late Gabriel.
yeah,
Ooh.
because that's a big
Genesis,
difference
you said.
between
It's a
the
huge
two.
difference.
Yes.
Yes, but the early Phil was really good. And
Yeah.
Last few of Gabriel was good too.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess Maria's. Salt and pepper.
Britney Spears.
Oh.
Pat Benatar?
Yes.
Pat Benatar.
Solid.
Oh,
So,
come on.
so
Yeah.
we're
Benatar.
so we're all in the '80s type of area.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
that all
old.
works for
Yeah.
me.
Works for me.
I'm with at least 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
All right,
I was
hey, we
90s,
did get an
sorry.
email question.
Are
was
you-
90s.
I told you we did.
I know.
Weezer was
90s.
Somebody asked,
Early 90s.
89.
how do we pick
No?
the places we visit?
That's a great question.
It's basically anyone will have us.
That's not totally true.
Well,
So-
you know, another thing is we shout them out on Facebook on these videos,
Yeah.
and then they contact us and say, "Hey, we'd love to come."
Hey,
So
thanks
we
for
have
the
an
shout out.
extensive list of places we want to go, right?
Yeah.
And how do we fit those in? Everybody's crazy busy. We like to do a one-on-one with people. Just doesn't
Yeah.
always happen,
Yeah.
right? And so as we play that out together, right, as we talk about what's happening next, what's coming up new, what's happening now, sometimes we just jump into the next thing where, okay, they're having this big event. They were on our list 5 months from now, but maybe we should need to move them up pretty quickly and
Yeah.
kind of get them in either a show at their spot like we did with a few people,
Yeah.
or bring them right into the studio like Hoppy Dudes. It's just kind of, it's one of those things where
It's always changing.
massive list, really cool spectrum of what we're looking at doing.
Yeah.
We have had a good system of going out and back with people, but as we play that out, who knows?
It doesn't always work.
Speaking
so-
of, what's it look like coming in the future?
All right. Well,
It's time to grain out. grade out.
Before we grade out, we have one more Hoppy Dudes beer to try tonight.
Oh, we do? Oh, I gotta
No,
chug
we have
some
two.
in.
We have two more beers, so we have
Yeah.
to start this and end this
Well-
with a Hoppy Dudes beer.
You've got.
Let me go back to the boil.
It's time for the
We can grade out with
What,
some
you got
fun
amber?
beers.
You didn't bring oats.
All right.
I didn't bring oats.
You got
All right, so I
amber?
brought amber.
This is fine.
I thought that I brought oats.
And we got the
oats.
Betty,
And Betty.
That's-
which we won a medal for.
Betty. So
Second to yours.
we didn't send anything in this year to the competition. So
You didn't?
hopefully you guys get a gold
So we
medal.
might get a gold this year.
I don't like that attitude right there. That's bullshit.
I'm telling you, you're gonna get a gold medal, man. How's that a bad shit? I love you guys. Betty is the bomb.
Betty
by
is
the
a good
way.
beer.
So what should you suggest to start?
go with
Let's
the
start
amber.
with
Let's do
this
the amber.
and then with one more.
So the amber is kind of on, kind of like a fat tire.
Yeah. Yep. So the
Okay,
amber.
so this is going. Did Fat Tire inspire this?
Yeah. So
did.
Yeah.
so amber is a
Full
malt
circle.
forward amber ale. Hopefully,
Smells fantastic.
hopefully it hits the taste buds correctly, but it definitely is a malt forward. I mean, we wanted a red. We do a red.
Red
for-
Rocket.
Red Rocket for our.
You guys are dirty.
We've actually
Red
had.
Pickle.
It's just a rocket.
We've
I like
actually
that.
had people actually complain about the name and actually about the label.
I feel like
this
it's a
They're like,
rocket, bro.
That's gross. And I'm like, your mind went the wrong way because all it is a dog sitting on a rocket with a red tip.
Listen.
Where
I-
your
I
mind went
understand.
is wrong.
We have tons of. Our Hefeweizen is banana hammock. They're like, that's disgusting. I'm like, it's a banana and a hammock. How's it disgusting?
Hey,
like
dogs
that,
got to
Rose?
eat, right?
Dogs gotta eat, brah.
Malty.
Smells
Oh
malty.
yeah, that.
That's amber.
Yep, that's good.
That's an amber.
That
That's
is
good,
Yeah.
bro.
Yep. Nice little caramel in there. We use some 60 and 90 caramel inside of that. A little bit less on the 90, a little bit more on the 60. And you've got your basic, pale and stuff like that that's inside of that.
And
We
the
do
finish
throw
dry.
a little bit of
It's
wheat
dry.
in there.
It is.
And we actually throw a little bit of corn in there also, just to kind of help with,
Just thin it out. A little bit.
just thin it out a little bit. Yeah,
That's a few times you mentioned corn in your beer.
we use flake corn quite a bit.
I didn't
on
have any
stuff.
corn. Bad.
Bad. It's good.
We actually entered this into the Ohio Brewers Cup.
How many
see
beers
how
did you
it
send
goes.
down?
5.
What'd you send down?
Well, we sent Betty because we won with it last year. Or
No.
We got silver with Betty last year. We sent Amber, so we sent this one. We ended up sending. We sent Hoppy Fall, which is the beer that we had just before this. We sent Oats and Hose,
That's bad, man.
and then we sent.
That's funny.
I forget what the hell. I mean, we sent 5.
Oats and Hose.
Yeah, Oats and Hose.
Oats and Hose.
Yeah,
So Betty is a fantastic beer.
yeah,
Thank
which
you.
we're gonna have next.
One of my favorites that you brew.
I thought pickle was your favorite.
I said one of
One
my
of the
favorites.
favorites. We actually almost beat the big guys.
No, you did.
No,
was
we
rigged.
did not. It was.
Oh, it
I
was
was
at
there
their
we were
for
farm.
down
It
by
was rigged.
4.
It was rigged.
It was rigged.
It was rigged.
Hey,
It was rigged.
those guys over there, they have an amazing
That
albino
white,
stout.
that white albino stout.
So-
yeah, but
We'll tell the story while you pour it because I already chugged my beer. At the Cleveland Beer Week, which we just had,
Yep.
they did a summer event a late summer event at Frog Valley Farm in Valley City, where they have this is the second year now, we had a fantastic beer fest.
yeah, absolutely.
And it was wonderful. So next year you should be at Valley City for this beer fest. And they decided to have a
Barnyard
taste
Bash.
test, right? Between
albino stouts.
really albino stouts. And what we had was we have the typical, the Butcher and the Brewer puts it on. So it's their albino stout. And Betty was the kind of the two that were the big players at the day. And both are different beers. They're different products. But more so than before.
Yep.
Kind of talk through your process with an albino stout. People talk about this. It's the it is now the number one asked for product
Yeah.
for people. So what is an albino
Tom
stout
wants
in
it.
your mind? What's it look like? And
Well, every time you say the word stout, everybody thinks black and thick. So you have to kind of change that. You have to, you have to change that thought process. Now I realize.
do you have to?
But that's where their head goes. They think that it's black or dark beer, and they don't like dark beer. So when you tell them that it's an albino, they look at you and they're like, albino? It's like, it's deer in the headlights type of situation.
Yep.
So you tell them it's all the characteristics of an actual stout, but it's not dark.
Yep. And it blows your mind.
Yeah, so when you look at this, I mean, the grain bill on this is just your basic pale, which we use Maris Otter inside of this to kind of bring some of that English malt forward into it. We use a local coffee bean company to use for the coffee beans, which we add into the secondary. But, I mean, the grain bill is very simple. Brew it. It's a high octane when it goes into the fermenter. On day 6, we add the coffee beans in. We actually add cocoa nibs into it.
Yep.
And obviously, we soak the cocoa nibs inside of something else that we're not allowed to do, but we soak the...
No, you're allowed to because you got to sanitize them.
Yeah, so we soak the nibs inside of West Branch
Sanitizing
malts.
solution.
Yep.
West
Chocolate
Branch
vodka.
malt chocolate vodka, and then we add that into it, and then on kegging, we take it one step further and we use a white chocolate flavoring from Amaretti,
Yep.
and we add that into it. So it's a white chocolate albino stout. So you get all the
That's
characteristics
wonderful.
of a stout, you get the coffee forward, and then you get the white chocolate on the tongue and all the way back.
So the whole thing behind this beer is Butcher and Brewer Albino Stout is my favorite beer. Like
Yeah,
I
it's a good
love
beer.
it. And we were wanting to do one like it, and I was kind of nervous about it because you want to kind of compete with them.
Yep.
And once we made this and I tasted it for the first time, I'm like, we have something here because theirs is coffee heavy, and then it's kind of like a flat taste, where this finishes with the white chocolate. So you
do
get a little
that
bit more
white
flavor.
chocolate in there,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
You get more
it
flavor.
just kind of bridges from the malt to the coffee.
Yeah.
And it just
Yeah, it
Yeah.
bridges all the way
I think
through.
there's more flavor through this than Butcher Brewer's Albino Stout, but I'm not going to knock their beer. That's a really
their
good beer.
Is
really,
amazing
really good
beer.
Yeah.
It's I love that beer.
And we lost to them by 3 votes.
yeah,
so
we did.
Right.
But Chris and those guys over there, they're an amazing team, and they're a great,
But
great group.
listen,
Great
I'll
beer is
tell
great.
you what, we lost by 3 votes, but I mean they've been around for a long time. We started
It
brewing
was their
3 years
event.
ago,
It was their event.
so
Yeah.
No,
I
I think we're
appreciate
good.
yeah, this is good beer.
Yeah.
Betty
Wow.
White
It is.
box.
This is Betty.
Thank you.
This is Betty.
It's
Betty
Betty.
White.
So
Dave-
we actually released this 7 days after the iconic Betty White
Yep.
died.
We didn't know what to name this, and then in a drunken
There it is.
stupor, I'm like, the
Betty
Betty
Betty.
White.
Now it's the Betty
It is the Betty
white chocolate albino
Now I
stout.
got to let you guys go because we have to close out here. We're an hour and a
Okay.
half.
Sorry.
So
Next
we're
week.
talking about I got to get back into the boil.
It's time for
no the grain out.
Grain out, Dave. Let's go.
it's
Damn it.
time to
Screwed
grain
up.
out.
Dave's had way too much.
So next week we're going to be at Medina Brewing Company, and I'm excited about this
You guys gotta
because
come.
Welcome.
you should, man. You guys are right there.
Thank you, guys.
We're meeting the great
Brewer
Kenny
Seville.
Hyman.
Yeah,
Brewer of Seville.
double episode.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to record or what's
better.
going to happen, but I'm excited because he's kind of a podcasting hero
He's a good
to
dude.
me.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're out in
listen to the
Medina
show.
with
Yeah.
Kenny. Back the week after with
And Zofchak from
Yeah,
Four
Four
Paws.
Paws.
She's going to be in studio bringing some beers. I hope there's some of that porch pumpkin left. I hope
can't wait.
That's going to
Week
be
after,
Well,
back in studio.
no, I don't know what the week after.
Well,
is.
2 weeks from there.
We got to figure out. I got some things we're
All right.
working
all
on. But
12-5 in studio.
December 5th, it's the Christmas ale tasting.
Yes.
Heck
Now,
yeah.
don't get crazy and email in because we got a full house.
Boom there and all there.
Yes.
I think we have 8 people besides my wife and brother that are coming. We're probably. Here's what I'm thinking: we can move this table back and put some more chairs here,
It's possible.
we could have a Christmas annex.
Annex it up.
Can we
I
be
kind of
here
like
for
the
that?
can come
annex
for that.
idea.
We'll bring our
Bring your
free
beer, we'll do
snobby
that.
dude.
We're bringing Hoppy Dudes. It's all in now.
We could. I mean, I'm gonna have to. I got to get my brother. We're gonna get some more lights, and we'll get another. We get another camera, and we'll have a Christmas annex.
We'll do that.
I'm gonna have to.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. We got.
Remind everybody how to get a hold of us, Dave, so we get out of here.
like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Boom,
We're on
boom, boom.
YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, the BlabberMalt Show.
Email us if you need to.
Yeah, blabbermalt@gmail.com. Also hit us up at blabbermalt at X, Threads. What's the other one?
Spotify.
Yeah, no.
You talked
Threads.
about tonight.
Instagram. That's the other one.
Instagram. Give the IG for
We're
us,
getting
baby.
better. We're putting stuff out there.
IG.
All right, everybody.
IG,
Follow our reels.
Not the
See what's
OG,
going on. Hit
IG.
that button. Let us know what's going on. Till then, guys,
Stay
malty,
malty, Cleveland.
Have a good night.